What is going on, guys? Did the versus all game with my review of Seraph of the End episode 4. And this episode, it was very simple, but like always, we got a ton of story progression, and we see now Mika. We actually get a backstory about how he survived, and we saw him, in fighting action, and that right there, I gotta say, it was definitely impressive. Now, I'm not sure how it'll work, when like him and you come face to face, but if these two do fight, as enemies, then that right there will be very, very interesting, and I cannot wait to see how that goes down. But the episode itself, we see now that once again, in the beginning, one of the horsemen had now gone on a rampage, and we see this one, it had a very different design compared to the first one, but we see now this time it was Mika that like took it down single-handedly. And I do wonder, how in the world did this sword work, because we do see that like these very, like sharp looking vines, they do come out and they actually, wrap around his hand, but when that happens, we see the blade, it did get this like reddish color to it, so I do wonder what that means. But we see Mika, she like to like cut the thing down, and he's like definitely fast, and that right there is awesome. But sadly, he was not alone, as there were the other two vampires as well that was like with him. But we see now that even when these humans were like thanking him, because of course, they're like grateful for somebody, saving them, like these two vampires thought that these humans were like no more than like livestock, and that right there definitely brought back memories of like Mika's past. And we see now that the way that he dare survive, it was only because he had drunk the blood of the third progenitor, who's actually, like their queen. So I do wonder what in the world happened to the first two. But in a flashback, we see that, like after you had ran away, we had like the very low level vampires, finding the massacres of the kids, and we see now that one of them was going to, to step on Mika, and that right there, like kind of ticked me off. But luckily, we had their queen come in there, and stop them. And so now we see, from just tasting, a little bit of Mika's blood, she can tell that like he was not dead yet, but of course he was going to die soon. And we see now that this vampire, he might have actually let you escape, on purpose, and that right there, like, we're very interested, and we do learn that that the vampire that like pretty much wiped out, like the rest of them, this guy was a seventh progenitor, and so that right there, I do wonder how many they have, because obviously every noble looking vampire, all of them must be progenitors, at least in some way or form. But we see now this guy, he was like perfectly fine, and he actually had the nerve to like challenge their queen, because he was saying he could go to the Progenitor Council, and I'm guessing that right there might consist of the first two, because it's definitely kind of weird how she's the third one and yet she's the queen, but they never mentioned what happened to the first two. So that right there, I was like definitely wondering about. But we see now this queen, she is fast and powerful. Not only did she like signify with a kick, but she also got rid of his arm, and she almost killed him, because we do see that like she easily overpowers him. So that right there shows you, how strong she is. And so now we see obviously, obviously this the vampire, he is not stupid, and he knew like there was no way he could like definitely defeat her. And obviously if he went behind her back and told the council, then his life would have been pretty much, pretty much forfeit, because there is no way she would let him survive after, after riding her out. But now we see like after he left and picked up his arm, because obviously, vampires, they don't like us, but I do wonder how long it took him, to like reattach that, because if that were there, was instant or something, that would be a little too much. But we see now that like she actually gave Mika a choice whether or not he would like want to live, and when he turned her down, she like took that choice away, and she forcefully made him drink her blood. So it wasn't like he get something like that, he was like forced to become, a vampire and quit humanity. And that right there, I did feel, like rather bad for him, because he definitely wanted to die as a human, because even though Mika was a nice guy, he definitely had to hate vampires, and now he is one. So that right there is a very, very sad fate for him. But now we go back to the present, and we see now that like he was like walking through the school out of nowhere, some jerk, bumped into him, and that right there to like escalate into a fight so quickly. And I thought, I thought this guy would be like far level again. He'll be garbage. He'll get like wrecked by you. But obviously, it was the other way around, because even though like Yu's face was like definitely more like blew up out of proportion, because his face that never looked that bad, he definitely lost that fight. But now we see that they actually went to the Moon Demon Company like training school, and definitely about time we see them working toward the like her skin weapon, because that right there is what Yu is so obsessed with. But now we see that when they go to class, Goran's like actually there, and we learn now he's their teacher, but he's like really there. And the only reason why he's like there today is because, he has these new transfer students. But I do wonder why in the world is like Goran such a bad teacher. And a bigger question, why is the guy such a dick? Because don't get me wrong, I like Goran. To me, he's a beast. From the way he fight and from the way his sword looks, to me, he's awesome. But I do wonder why in the world is he like such a dick most of the time, because we see him now be like such a jerk to what's his name, Yoichiro and Yu, because he had called him a wuss and an idiot. But now we see Yu wants to get being a jerk as well, and he's like being so cold and shutting everyone out, because right now like Yu is so scared to get a cook people, and he has like two friends now. But now we see that like he was telling them that he was not here to get to know them. He didn't care what they learned before. He just want them to know that like he'll be getting the best gear, because now we learned that in a week's time they will have they'll have a cursed gear aptitude test to see what like bets like match them. And so now we see that when you have to go take a seat, we learn now that the pink haired guy, whose name is Kimi, I believe that is his name. We learned that the guy he got to fight earlier with is also training to fight against vampires, and that right there was interesting. And now we see once again they are butting heads, and we've seen now you actually getting a good shot or two, but obviously like they were shut down by Goran. And so now we see that after that now things had settled down. They have to go take it was some kind of test where they graded on their overall performance, and from that they'll know if they could take the aptitude test to find out what gear back messed them. And so now they have to pair up, and we see everybody already has their groups except for you. But sadly he was left out because Yoichiro and Shinowa, they had paired up, and Shinowa definitely did it on purpose just so you can like pair up with Kimi. That right there is what I'm calling for short. And so after they get paired up, everybody had to fight these monstrous looking puppets. And that right there was interesting, but like sadly things did not go that well. Oh no, there was something I forgot. It was where Kimi, he had went to Goran's office, and we see now Kimi and Yu, they are definitely very similar, because Kimi here, he wants to get a cursed weapon so bad so he can go out there and prove himself because we learn now that he had a sister, and his sister right now was infected by that virus that was unleashed by the vampires, like years ago. And so now we see that if he definitely, rise up in ranking, in the company, then that right there will open the doorway for him and for his sister, so that she could get much better treatment. And so right now, Kimi is just a focus on that, and Gurren knows that right now, if he even touch a weapon, then that demon will immediately devour him. Because they're even though him and you are so very similar, there was one thing that there's one thing that sets them apart, and that right there is that that right there is that you actually has friends that cares for them, and we all know last week he did break free from a demon, so that really shows you that he does have potential, because even when Kimi has. Even when Kimi gets stronger, he did not have that heart. So that right there definitely rolling it. But now go back to the puppet scene. That right there, Sally did not last that long, because something went wrong where Kimi's sister Barbara's actually got worse, but luckily she was saved. But we do see now that there was some kind of marking, so slowly covering her body. So that right there, they are definitely, that right there is something that they definitely have to watch out for. And so now we see that for some reason, him and you will still handcuffed together, because that right there is how they had, that right there is how they had to be for the test. Oh, and I gotta say, usually you actually getting through the Kimi to go check on his sister, that right there was definitely some character, that right there was some definite character development for him anyway, because normally he is so cold, but obviously family means that much to him. And so now we see Kimi, was feeling kind of down, because obviously, he got a poor score, and he felt like there was no way now he could continue, going on with the company. But once again, you got through him and brought him back, and so now both of them are slowly building this friendship, and I also want to say, rivalry as well. But now going back to the vampire side of things, we see now that there was this huge meeting, and the queen was there, and so we learn now that the vampires definitely of the army, of humans that are not fighting against them, and pretty much what's happening now is that there's going to be a war, and we have Mika actually thinking that you could be in danger and going to rescue him, but obviously them coming face to face for the first time in years, that right there is definitely approaching, and I can't wait for that. But the episode itself, like I said, it was good. We saw Mika doing work. We got a new character introduction, and we got some good story progression. And so for that, personally, I feel like it was an 8 out of 10. But of course, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps me out. And you guys take it easy. I will see you all next time.